welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance that was released just this year in 2015. We're talking about Boss Bottled Oud. Now, Boss Bottled Oud, again, a very new release. It's one that I've actually overlooked. I mean, it's a fragrance that I'd heard about, I'd seen a review or two, and I was just like, there's a lot of releases from the house of Hugo Boss, and I was generally kind of underwhelmed at the fact, and I thought, okay, well, another oud version, or another oud version of a traditional fragrance. And so I wasn't terribly interested in the fragrance until I saw Fragrance Brothers, who had a split going on, and since they had another fragrance that I wanted, Bunch of the One as well as the L'Intense, I figured out, you know what, I'll just pick up that fragrance and review that one just for the heck of it as well too. So that's where this is actually coming from. There were no expectations coming in. In fact, if there were any expectations, it was more along the negative side. It was a little bit more negative, okay? So this fragrance, again, was released this year, 2015. It comes in two main sizes, a 3.4 and a 1.7. 3.4 is going to run you $97 retail, and the 1.7 is going to run you roughly $60 retail. Do some shopping around because I have seen it a little bit discounted already, which is a little bit surprising, but it will become a little bit more clear as I continue on in the review. Alright? So with that, let's go ahead and start off with the notes of this fragrance. The notes of this fragrance consist of, at our top, we've got citrus and apple. For our mid, we have saffron and clove, lavender and cinnamon, and for our base, we have oud, sandalwood, and cypriol oil. So the first thing that really strikes me about this is at the top, the way that it really does kind of remind me of the original Boss Bottled. Now, Boss Bottled, for those of you who don't know, is something that is integral in my collection. It's a typical fall fragrance that I really love to break out when it starts getting a little bit colder. It's a scent that kind of has this nice apple, cinnamon, almost like an apple pie kind of a vibe, but more along the citrus lines. And it's just something that's so beautiful on that. And so I had, I guess you could say I had very positive feelings for that. And the fact that this smells like that off the top, a nice little cinnamon and apple-y vibe, really gives it a very nice feel to it. But the citrus becomes a little bit more. Now, after the top, and once you start getting into the mid, is really where this fragrance begins to take a little, not a little bit, but a big turn from the original fragrance. This, you start to get more of an incensey smell, and I get a leather smell. I know there's no leather that's actually listed in this fragrance, but that's really what I'm getting from this, and I'm instantly reminded of leather, even though it's supposed to be oud. So more so than oud, I get like a leather scent. So if you can imagine the original Boss Bottled mixed with leather, and that's essentially what I'm getting from this actual scent. Now, describing it a little bit differently, I would say that this almost feels like Boss Bottled Intense. I know there's probably an actual Boss Bottled Intense out, but this feels more like what should be Boss Bottled Intense. Now, the oud smell, I do get the oud as you start getting more into the dry down. You start to get a little bit more of the dirty, the earthy type of an oudy feel to it, which kind of makes me jump back to the actual description of the bottle. One of the things that they describe on this, and they really pride themselves with, is that they use real or actual oud. Now, I can't verify that. I can't really comment on it from, you know, an actual standpoint. But as far as actual smell goes, I'd say they come pretty close, if they're not actually using oud. And whether or not they're using oud, to me, doesn't really matter. I don't really care, just because I'm more concerned with what it actually smells like. And this one is a little bit more pleasant. I would say this is a good scent for people who are looking who have tried out oud. It's not necessarily an introductory oud, but it's one for more people who have tried out oud and have been at least intrigued by it. If you've tried out oud and have not liked oud, you may not like this scent because it does have undertones specifically of oud. But if you're one who has tried out an oud fragrance, and found them at least, interesting, give this one a try. Now, I go about 3 sprays with this one. No more, no less. 3 sprays is about right for me on this one. The season-wise, this is a good all-year season scent. Things to note, if you're going to wear this in the summer months or in the spring months or when it's hot, I would definitely suggest this is more of a night fragrance. And overall, this is just a night fragrance, just quintessentially a night fragrance. It's a great night fragrance and suits that time out. If you're going out with a date, if you're going out to a bar, it's a great fragrance for that no matter what year it is or what time of the year it is, what season it is, it doesn't matter. Great fragrance for that. Versatility wise, in terms of when you're going to actually wear this, like I mentioned, you're going to wear it to dates, you're going to wear it on a night out of town. You might even be able to wear it to work, but outside of that, I really wouldn't throw this one on casually because it doesn't really fit that bill. The original Boss Bottle is a great casual scent. This one, not so much. It's more suited for the nighttime and night out. Already touched upon occasion-wise, but age group-wise, we're talking about this has a little bit more of a mature vibe, and I expect it's because of the oud scent. But I still do think that people that are in college can still pull this one off. So I'm talking about anywhere between 18, 22. You can still pull this one off. Under 18, you might have a little bit or a little bit more difficult a time pulling this one off than others. And for performance-wise, I'm getting a solid 8 to 12 hours. So it's no slouch on the performance. I will say after about 8 hours though, it starts to become definitely more of a skin scent on my skin. So that 12 hours, a little bit shaky, but I have had it last that long on my skin. And compliment-wise, this unfortunately did not get any compliments for it. That said, I am willing to chalk this one up to more of a situation because the time that I actually got to test this one wasn't really in situations where people would be as forthcoming with compliments. So for example, one time I was out with Becky, and even though we were around other women, generally speaking, it depends on the situation, they're not going to compliment me on my scent with Becky around. That's just the way it is. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't. They kind of steer away from that. So I do think that this one will garner some compliments, so just be on the lookout for this and give it a try. So, rating-wise, if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give it a rating an 8 out of 10. It gets a solid 8 out of 10 because I think it's a great night out offering. It's not an absolutely smashing, outstanding fragrance, but at the same time, I think it's a great fragrance. I think it's a great fragrance. And what I mean by that is I do like the way that it mixes the original Boss bottled with an oudy type of a scent, even though that oud comes off to me as a leathery type of scent. So it's a great night out scent. It's a scent that's not going to kill your bank account too much, but at the same time, I do think that it should be priced a little bit less than it actually is right now. Either way, it does, come off as a pretty good scent for what you're getting. If you're looking for a night out scent, go ahead, take a gander at this one, and I think you might be pleasantly surprised. But if you're not a fan of oud, if you're not a fan of those darker scents, you probably will not want to try this one. Simple as that. All right? So let me know what your thoughts are on Boss Bottled Oud. Leave a note, send a message, do whatever you got to do. Thank you guys, take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.